And I suspect a lot of the punters still have no idea, as we don't, about a result. They must be getting impatient.
Well, I feel like Noddy in Toyland on my first day. What on earth is going on? Now, where am I?
You're asking me?
Well, you don't know, obviously. And you're not big ears. I'm not saying you're big ears.
Yes, I am.
I just feel it's an extraordinary...
It's getting a bit frustrating, isn't it?
No, it's a good night. But I voted for aircraft carriers because I believe in aircraft carriers. Whoever's going to build aircraft carriers, I voted for that.
And Bill, you still think the Conservatives can win?
I really hope so, yeah.
You are a Conservative?
Yeah, I was working class. I grew up and Labour did nothing for me. And
you must be a little bit disappointed then that it's not so clear-cut.
They didn't put the stones for any gigs.
I'm sincerely hoping that the Conservatives will get through there.
What do you think?
I think I need something to happen. We need something to happen. I don't really care what it is. Something needs to happen.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to leave you, and I'm going to go over to speak to the journalists because, you know, journalists have had all sorts of opinions and analysis of how this election has gone, and I think a lot of them tonight have turned out to be completely wrong. So let's hold three of them to account right now. Andrew Ronsley, what's happening?
Actually, I think a fairly clear pattern is beginning to develop now. There's a swing to the Conservatives, which is quite stonking if you look in areas of southern England. It's getting up to 10% in some of those seats. But it gets harder and harder for David Cameron as he goes up the M1 or the M6. He gets to the Midlands, he's struggling, and then into the North seats they really needed to win to be confident of getting a majority. They're not getting, which I think means we're looking at probably a Conservative minority government. Certainly looks unlikely the Conservatives can get a majority.
That's disappointing. I mean, if they can't win in a recession against an unpopular Prime Minister with a multi-million-pound campaign, when can they win?
I'm not convinced that Andrew's right. I mean, I think it's quite
Andrew's
likely.
Always right.
It's pretty well.
Not always.
It's pretty well certain there's going to be a Conservative government, and it's a question of whether.
Why do you say that?
Because of the momentum. You can't get a deal that's going to stick now between a Labour government that's been very clearly defeated and a Liberal Party which hasn't really broken through. It's not really in their interests. All the momentum, all the swing, all the development has come from the Tories. The question is it quite enough? So, and when David Cameron was speaking earlier at his declaration, what he was sort of saying was, well, look, I will actually try and find a way of doing a deal if I can't win outright.
You don't think he'll just form a minority government?
Well, what he said, that was all the stuff about the national interest. National interest is always a code for being able to reach out if you have to.
In my experience, it's usually a code for self-interest. Do you think that he's right, or there's still a chance of a centre-left kind of arrangement here, isn't it?
I'm sure that Gordon Brown's going to want to do that. Gordon Brown is going to want to see, I think, how it falls. If there were 260 Labour MPs and there were 60 Liberal Democrat MPs, he could do it. But it would be a coalition of the defeated. That's the trouble.
Yeah, that is the problem.
That is the trouble. And the momentum is with the Conservatives.
Well, there's one other problem, which as Nick Clegg said, he thought the party that had most votes and most seats would have the right to be the first to try and form a government. And it looks likely, although Mr Cameron may be short of a parliamentary majority, I don't think anybody's going to argue he won't have most votes and most seats. Now, Mr Clegg may, who knows, he may be ruining he made that declaration, but make it he did.
What happened to this Lib Dem surge we've all been bigging up for the past 4 weeks?
Well, I think that...
Well, you may say.
Well, one may say. I think that the crucial moment was when the last hour, the last 45 minutes of the third debate, when Nick Clegg tried to defend the amnesty on immigration and on the euro. Brave positions to take, but actually you could see that he was on the back foot, and momentum began to drain from then. Just
before we go, we're going to back to the studio in a second. Charles Moore, what are you doing here taking our hospitality, and you won't even pay the BBC licence fee?
Well, I'm appearing in the magistrate's court.
You're a freeloader. I'm going to call security to get this lawbreaker out. Back to the studio.
And so say all of us. Thank you very much.